Hey, what's up guys? Devin here with Backcountry Exposure. Now what I've got on the table to talk about today is the H2R Nova from Olight. This thing has a 2300 lumen output that's powered by an 18650 battery. That is a lot of output for this small of a light. This is a great everyday carry light, but they've also marketed this as a multi-use light in the sense that they do include a strap to be able to use this as a headlamp. It does have some negatives for me, and we'll talk about those as we go through it. So I'm going to set this aside, and I want to go through really quickly all of the different specs about this light, and then we'll get into my experience with it as I've been carrying it and using it for the last month, traveling with it, all of the above. So this happens to be the cool white option. There are two options for this light. So you've got the cool white and then you've got the neutral white. The neutral white is going to be less output with a max of 2000 lumens, but this one is the cool white with the 2300 lumens. You've got 5 different modes on this. You have a turbo mode, a high, a medium, a low, and then there are the additional modes of an SOS and a lockout feature as well. So let's go ahead and dive into showing you how these different modes work. The turbo mode does not automatically turn on. You have to double click to be able to get that 2300 lumens of power. Now this is only going to stay on that type of output for a short period of time because this thing heats up so fast and it gets really, really hot. And that's going to be the number one negative for me about this is if I want to have that kind of output, I'm to the point where I can almost not handle the light because it gets too hot, especially up here at the lens, and I just cannot handle how much heat is coming off of the light. It even radiates down into the body, and in the short amount of time that it's been on this 2300 lumens of output, that is to where I can't keep my fingers on there because it is getting way too hot. That is the negative for me about this light, but keep in mind that think about the times that you're actually going to need 2300 lumens of power. There's another negative about the light in the sense that if you're using this in a self-defense type situation with a firearm, the orientation of the lens is going to make this a lot harder to use than if you've got a standard type of flashlight like this BYB light that I have that is 1000 lumens. We're going to compare it to this a little bit here in a second, but that might be a consideration for you as well, as if you're wanting to use this in a self-defense situation, the orientation of the lens could make it difficult for you to not be able to use it properly as a self-defense light. For that turbo mode, you're going to get 1 minute or so of that full-on 2300 lumens. Otherwise, it's going to drop down to 750 lumens so that it doesn't overheat. And that's going to last for about 110 minutes on that 750 lumens. If I push and hold, that is going to turn on the moonlight mode, which is going to be 1 lumen. And then if I just do a single click, that is going to turn on the low mode, which is going to be 30 lumens. And if I push and hold, that will pull me up to the medium at 150 lumens. That's going to last for at least 10 hours. Push and hold again. There is your 600 lumens. That will last for 2.5 hours. So you've got a lot of different options for making this light usable for a lot of different situations. I see this as a really nice light for everyday carry, and especially as somebody that is like a service technician working in basements and in dark places where different types of illumination are necessary for you to be able to do your job and find things on the ground in dark places. Whatever the situation is, this light is going to give you the option to be able to do that. Now this is a rechargeable light that uses the really cool Olight magnetic USB charger that just attaches to the base plate or the bottom of the light. This for me, going ahead and jumping into the outdoor application of this light, is a really cool feature, but it's not something that I'm really psyched on, because if I want to recharge this light and I've got other types of devices that use a micro USB recharging port, then I've got to carry more cords with me and more charging things that I just don't like to do when I'm out backpacking and out hiking and that kind of stuff. So that is a drawback for me. It's not a deal breaker by any means, but it is a really cool feature, and it's a great way to be able to see that this light does charge really well off of that magnetic bottom. Something else to note real quick before we talk about the headlamp attachment is the pocket clip on this. So you've got basically one orientation that they have set up for this, and that is for the lens to be down in your pocket when you're carrying it. Now, that is going to allow you to be a little more secure in making sure that you don't accidentally turn on the light because the power switch being here on the top. But again, this does have a lockout mode, so if I push and hold, it's going to go into the 1 lumen moonlight mode, and then if I keep holding, it's going to turn that off, and now it's in a lockout mode. So you do have the ability to make it so it doesn't turn on in your pocket accidentally, and it's really easy to get in and out of that. But if you do want to carry this in the different orientation with the lens up, you don't really have the option without like forcing the clip over this end of the light, which you can do, because while I was out traveling recently, I took this with me and I placed this into the strap of my backpack and was able to use it to illuminate the walking path as I was out walking with my backpack on, instead of using it as a headlamp. So that was a great feature, but I wish that they would have put some kind of groove here to be able to flip the pocket clip to make it a little bit easier to carry, depending on what your preference is in how you want to carry it. Now, I've taken the pocket clip off, so let's go ahead and talk about the headlamp attachment that is included with it. This is a cool feature, and you saw that that is magnetic, which allows this to be a little bit more secure, and then it has this rubber piece that comes around and clips onto the light. You do have to take the pocket clip off for this to work properly, but the nice thing is I have the ability to rotate this basically any direction that I want, and it's not fixed in that one direction, so I can turn it the other way, and I've got the ability to be a little more versatile with this. But I want to be honest in how I personally would use this application, like in a backpacking or outdoor setting. This light weighs a little bit more than I would particularly want to carry. The light itself, including the battery, is 3.5 ounces, or about 100 grams. Now, you include the headlamp strap on top of that, and you've got a little bit more weight. And the one downside for this on me is I don't always like a light that has this top strap. The reason that they've included this is because there's so much weight on the front of your head where the light attaches that it's necessary to have this top strap over your head to be able to make it so that it doesn't fall off and fold off of your forehead. That is a downside for me personally. I don't really like straps that are like this, but for the most part it's comfortable, it works, and it gets the job done. But in a backpacking setting, this is not a light that I would probably carry with me, because there are different options out there that are lighter weight, and I don't always need 600 lumens of power to be able to light the path that I'm going to be walking. The other thing that I need to show you that I didn't show you when I walked through the different modes is the SOS feature. So if you triple click the top of the power button, you're going to get into the SOS function. This does have a memory. What it's not going to have a memory for is SOS. So you don't have to worry about the memory remembering the SOS feature when you turn it on and turn it off. It's just nice to know that you do have the SOS feature, and it is a really, really bright aspect for the SOS, which is really nice as a feature to have on the light. What I want to do now is compare this light to the one that I have that is a 1,000 lumen light from BYB Light. Now these are obviously very different in size and different application, but both are powered by an 18650 battery. And to be honest, the Olight has a lot of really cool output, and you definitely see a difference in the 1,000 lumens versus the 2300 lumens. Obviously 2300 going to be way brighter. This is the 1,000 lumens of the BYB Light. A lot of output, crazy amount of light. What's crazy is the 2300 lumens that comes from the Olight. Awesome amount of output. But the type of lens that is on the light makes a difference in the type of throw that you experience from the light. Consider the fact that because this light is so small, the lens doesn't have the kind of throw that you would necessarily expect to see from this kind of light. They do advertise that this is going to throw about 153 meters. That is a really long ways, but that is mostly due, in my opinion, to the fact that this thing is 2300 lumens of power. That is a crazy amount, but for the most part, you're going to be using it at this 600, more likely the medium mode at the 150 lumens, which is not going to have that kind of throw.
Out there and you can film me.
Sure. So what we're looking at is, this is the full 2300 lumens. That house out there is about 75 yards away from me. So if that is an important part of a light for you, then going with a different type of light that has more of this kind of lens that will give you the kind of throw that you want, then that is an important thing, especially in a self-defense type situation where this light might be more effective than this light if you're trying to blind somebody to distract them from the threat that they are posing to you. Something else that you need to learn about the light, and you can only understand this when you use it, because I didn't see any information on it as I was reading it to get an understanding of how the light functioned, is when the battery starts to die, it will not go into the turbo or high modes. It will only do your medium, low, and moonlight. There you go, guys. That is the H2R Nova from Olight. Really cool everyday carry light, multi-use light. I've said light like 500 times in this video. I'm sorry, but that is how this works. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Hope you have an awesome day.